Be damn ready. Okay, give me a second. I'll start recording and we will begin. Okay, today we are reading Puwai, an animated film by Luke Thompson. Knave, take it away.
Puwai, an animated film by Luke Thompson. Exterior, Kapolini Regional Park, dawn. Shrouded in a pre-sunrise blanket of blue, the Hawaiian park is desolate, spared the few joggers and dog walkers walking the early rounds. One tired dog walker is being pulled along by his active Pomeranian as he drinks coffee. The dog stops and his ears perk up. It looks towards a branching path and growls softly. The owner's headphones drown out the dog's growl with miscellaneous drum beats. Edging toward the path, the dog scratches the ground, fighting against its owner's pull on the leash. In one quick jab of its body, the dog bursts out of its owner's grip and runs off down the track. At the end of the short walk are two stone pillars on either side of the path and beyond, a clearing in the trees. The ground is charred black in a spiral pattern surrounded by tree stumps, their body torn off but nowhere to be found. The dog sniffs at the ground, but a spark of electricity on the ground causes it to leap back with a whimper. The electricity dances wildly around the spiral, becoming more volatile, until there's a sea of static around the charred ground. With a sharp ethereal whistle, the purple vortex booms into being in the clearing. The dog gallops away whining. A large pinkish-white tentacle reaches out of the portal and wraps around a stump, then drags the rest of itself up. The tentacle ends in a little blob. It drags itself onto the ground as the portal closes behind it. The tentacle retracts into the fading pink blob, no bigger than a basketball with a little curved flick at the top. Adorable eyes open up, and it hops away. Title, Puwai. Exterior, Kapiolani Park, morning. Kids on their way to school crowd the park, walking and laughing with their friends. The park is a lot busier now. A girl rides her bike on the bike path. She wears very boyish clothes, gray hoodie and jeans. Her hair is hidden under her helmet. This is Morgan. She's 13. Another biker zooms past her. She stops.
Scott!
The biker, Scott, 13, comes to a sudden break, lurching forward and nearly falling off. He paces backward at the bike. His bushy ginger hair is barely held down by his helmet.
Hey, Morgan.
The two cruise along the path.
You're in a hurry. It's school.
Well, yeah, I'm late. I'm late!
Scott is about to pedal away, but Morgan playfully grabs his hood and stops him.
Actually, you're early for once.
No, I'm late to sign up for the soccer team. Tryouts are after school.
Morgan lets go of the hood and they continue to cycle.
I've never seen you play soccer.
I wanted to try something new.
I don't think I've seen you play any sport.
How about cycling?
Riding a bike to school doesn't count.
Wanna bet?
Oh, no, Scott, I'm not racing you again.
Cut to a series of shots. A. Morgan with a look of despair, desperately pedaling to catch up with Scott ahead of her. B. Scott bolts past the entrance to the Waikiki Aquarium as a woman opens the door. C. Morgan slows down, going past the aquarium and waves the woman who waves back. She then speeds up again. D. On a path beside the beach, Scott lets go of his handlebars and stretches his arms out to feel the speed. But after his bike wobbles, he quickly grabs back on. E. Morgan looks over at the sea beside them, stunned by the view of the sunlight twinkling on the water. F. A white wheel rushes alongside them on the beach. Morgan does a double take at it, and it's gone. G. Morgan overtakes Scott with a competitive smirk. He puts more effort in and takes back the lead. The two turn onto the road. H. Scott weaves between lanes, curling his path around cars. I. Morgan looks frightful at Scott's daring route and cycles in straight line alongside the traffic. J. Scott takes a sharp turn into the gates of their school. A big sign that says Waikiki Middle School. K. A moment after, Morgan calmly pedals through the gates too. Exterior, Waikiki Middle School, bike shed. Morgan and Scott lock their bikes in the bike shed, catching their breath after the extreme race.
Think I could take up cycling now?
I think you'd be the first to get hit by a car.
I dodged them with grace.
We are not doing that again.
Morgan takes off her helmet. Her black hair is short cut and boyish.
You're just scared you'd lose again.
Don't you have a soccer team to sign up for?
Scott's face is struck with realization as he sprints off.
See you later!
Morgan smiles as she puts her helmet around her bike.
Nothing's changed.
Interior, school, homeroom, mid-morning. Students grouped at tables loudly gossip and some work on late homework. Scott and Morgan are sat together. Scott appears to be sleeping whilst Morgan is also doing work.
Everything's changed.
The shout comes from the homeroom teacher, the casual and friendly Mr. Watson, who walks in the classroom. He certainly got the students' attention. Scott's woken up and everyone stares at him.
Okay, guys, we just had a meeting and there's going to be some big changes. We're changing the new exam boards. All the stuff you've learned this first semester, forget it. We're getting new materials.
The class chatter curiously. Morgan, very concerned, raises a hand.
Why does it have to change?
Budget cuts. We know it's sudden, but we'll do our best to cram you with the new info.
It just means more studying.
The class mumbling evolves into uproar. Mr. Watson tries to settle everyone down to no avail. Morgan slumps in her arms. Interior, school, science class, afternoon. Students line up outside of the classroom waiting for the teacher. Scott runs up to Morgan at the back of the line, panting.
I'm early again. I'm on a roll today.
Morgan laughs quietly. The classroom door opens and the students pile in.
Well, guess you were just on time.
Better than being late.
Morgan sees the teacher, Mrs. Keawe, and takes his seat with Scott.
Substitute teacher.
So we can slack off before going home.
All these changes are so annoying.
Mr. Davis is ill today, so I'll be starting you on your new subjects. I just need to take the register.
She lists off names perfect attending until she gets to
Juniper?
Morgan blushes and raises her hand.
Miss Keawe? It's Morgan now.
Sure. Thank you, Morgan.
A group of boys sat behind Morgan snicker. One of them, Leon, 13, a sandy blonde-haired boy, leans back on his chair.
Junipers are my favorite flowers.
The boys try to hush their laughter. Morgan tries to ignore it, but becomes distressed.
Leave her alone, Leon.
Check it out. The homeless kid likes Juniper.
Scott's face washes red with rage. He turns around and launches a fist directly into Leon's face.
Oh!
The class shuts up and stares at Scott. As Scott towers over a trembling Leon, his nose bleeding. Scott's fist splattered with it. Miss Keawe stops up to them.
Scott, get out of this classroom right now.
Didn't you hear what he said?
My nose!
I don't care. Get outside now.
He was making fun of us.
In that case, you can tell the head. You two come with me. Everyone else, do the work on page 30.
Leon stands up, intentionally bumping into Morgan and dropping something into her bag. Scott and Leon follow the teacher. The students stare at Morgan. She tries badly to pretend not to notice. Interior, school, outside head teacher's office, after school. Morgan waits outside the office, restless. The door opens and Leon comes out. He snarls at Morgan as he walks off. A moment later, Scott comes out. He doesn't look bothered.
You okay?
Me? What about you?
After school detention next week. They can't tell my dad, so there's not much they can do. Worth it.
That wasn't worth it. You really hurt him.
How else was I going to shut him up?
Just ignore him next time?
That's not going to get anything done.
Exterior, school, bike shed. Morgan and Scott unlock their bikes.
Where are you going?
Well, school's out, so home.
I thought you signed up for the soccer team.
Wide-eyed, Scott slowly locks his bike again.
I'll see you later.
He dashes off. Morgan takes her bike and cycles away. Interior, Waikiki Aquarium, afternoon. Morgan walks through a glass tunnel. Aquatic life swim above and around her as if she were part of their schools. She leans on a rail, looking at a group of hawkfish swarming frantically around coral. The woman she waved to earlier on the way to school comes and stands beside her. This is Gwen, 40, her mom. As her uniform indicates, she works at the aquarium.
Ooh, the hawkfish are in a frenzy today.
Hi, Mom.
Good day at school? No.
Scott punched a guy in class. He made fun of my name and called him homeless.
Well, it sounds like the other guy started it.
Morgan continues to watch the hawkfish deep in thought.
In Hawaiian, the hawkfish are called pilikoa. It means coral clinging.
That explains why they're going crazy.
Interesting fact about hawkfish. When a male dies, the female turns into a male and leads the group.
Morgan shifts uncomfortably, steps away from her mother a bit.
You don't need to tell me the fish facts.
Gwen steps closer, giving Morgan a playful nudge on her shoulder.
At least the guests enjoy them.
Morgan manages to smile. Exterior, Kapiolani Park, beach evening. Morgan walks alone along the beach, trailing her bike beside her. The sky bleaches the water orange as the sun starts to set. The bike stops, bumping into something. Without looking, Morgan tries to push it further, but it won't budge. She looks down. The white wolf from earlier is laying down on the sand. She bends down to pick it up and move it, and it expands. It's the blob that came from the portal. She drops it in surprise. It looks up at Morgan with an adorably curious stare. She crouches down to its level and reaches out a finger, hesitantly pokes it, like pressing into a beanbag. It's soft and bouncy. A lump bulges from the blob and stretches out, morphs into a pointing shape exactly like Morgan's finger, and pokes her knee. She gasps for air, hyperventilating a bit, but quickly calms down when no harm comes to her. In a familiar-looking moment, Morgan and the blob press fingers against each other.
Whoa.
A voice calls out, startling her and the blob. The blob retracts a hand into its body.
Morgan!
She stands up and looks behind her. Scott catches up on his bike.
Scott, do you know what this thing is?
She points down at the blob. Scott takes a long look and dismounts his bike.
Is it a jellyfish?
It didn't sting when I touched it.
Scott crouches down and pats the blob. It morphs a hand and pats his hand. He falls over in surprise.
What did it just do?
I think it has hands hidden inside of it.
Or maybe it's a shape-shifting alien from another planet.
That's stupid.
A seagull lands on a wall a few feet away from them. The blob looks at the seagull and strains, changing shape, maintaining the same color and face. It turns into a seagull. Morgan's face is filled with confusion and curiosity. Scott is just smug.
Stupid, huh?
So, what the heck is it?
I just said, it's an alien.
Maybe you're right, but it's impossible.
The seagull flies away and the blob returns to its normal shape. It hops over to Morgan and nuzzles her leg.
Oh, likes you.
Should we leave it here?
I can't take it with me.
My mom won't let me have a pet.
You should keep it in secret. Get it to morph into something your mom won't notice.
What if someone found out? Some girl in Hawaii has an alien as a pet.
I've seen alien movies. If the government finds this, they'll have an autopsy.
Let's see if it understands us.
Morgan crouches to the sand again and takes her back from her back. She takes out a pencil case.
Okay, alien, can you turn into this?
It looks at it, then at her. At the pencil case again, it stretches out and becomes elongated, but still big.
It's still huge.
It'll still fit in my bag. I can pretend it's a cushion.
Huh, good idea.
The blob turns back and Morgan cautiously picks it up. Its eyes beam, loving the attention. Morgan puts it in her bag, but leaves it unzipped. Exterior, Morgan's house, evening. Morgan cycles to her house, the middle of 3 small cottages on top of a cliff overlooking the sea. Closer to the orange setting sun, the cliff has an amazing view of the ocean. Morgan sets her bike by on the wall of the house and enters. Interior, Morgan's room. Morgan's room is a shrine to her hobbies. Action figures, posters, and books line her desks, walls, and shelves. Morgan comes in and places her bag on her bed. The blob jumps out and looks around.
This is my room. I need you to stay here while I do some homework.
Morgan turns to walk away and the blob jumps to the floor following her. She picks it up and puts it back on the bed and ushers it down with her hands.
Stay.
She creeps back out of the door, closing it behind her. Interior, youth hostel, lobby, evening. Scott trudges into the hostel, dreading his requirement to be there. He turns to a sign in on a sheet and is startled by a knocking on the window beside him. He looks to see the reception office, where a woman signals for him to come in. He goes through the door into the office.
We got a call from school. You know what it's about?
Yes.
We'll keep it from your dad if you apologize to that boy tomorrow.
You should apologize to me and Morgan. Dad would love to hear I socked some loudmouth. Did they tell you what he said about me?
It was awful of him to say something like that, but you know it's not true. You're not homeless. You're only with us until your dad is out of the hospital.
I don't want to be here. Why did my dad even send me here? Doesn't he care about me enough to send me somewhere better?
Scott sniffs and starts to cry. The support worker puts his caring hand on his shoulder.
Scott, you might not like it here, but we're doing our best to make you happy. Please try to understand your dad's situation.
Scott takes a big sniff and wipes his tears away. He nods. Interior, hostel, Scott's room. Scott's room is the polar opposite of Morgan's. Plain, messy, and tight-packed. The kitchen and bedroom in 2 halves of 1 room. Scott jumps into his bed with his face buried in a pillow. On a desk beside him is a photo of him and his parents. He picks it up and hugs it at his chest, still sobbing. Interior, Morgan's house, kitchen. The kitchen is small and cramped but cozy. Seashells line the wall and the windows, looking out beyond the cliff. Morgan is sat at the table writing in a book and using a laptop simultaneously. A radio on the counter mumbles the news. The door opens and Gwen enters, still in uniform, from the aquarium.
Hi, Mom.
Wow, glad to see you working.
It's geography homework. I'm doing an essay on Puwai, the village.
Gwen tries to think of what Morgan meant since she butchered the pronunciation.
Oh, Puwai, on Isle Ni'ihau.
Yeah, that one.
Pu'uvai is Hawaiian for heart.
Morgan immediately writes this down.
Puwai means heart.
You're never going to pronounce it right, are you?
Probably not.
Taking a moment of silence to keep working, the news on the radio can be heard clearly.
Science research labs around Honolulu are reporting stolen equipment. With no sign of any break-ins, police are questioning employees, but no leads have come up so far.
Interior, Morgan's room. Night. Morgan lies on her front on the bed, poking at the blob.
I thought about it. I have to call you something.
Morgan thinks for a moment and smiles. She points at the blob.
Puwai.
And at herself.
Morgan.
She leans over to grab something from a school bag and retracts her hand quickly. Something has jabbed her.
Ow!
Actually looking this time, she puts her hand into the bag and pulls out a piece of paper on a tack, written on it.
Juniper is a girl's name. Why do you look like a boy?
She looks at the paper with despair as if it's just called her out on a huge secret. She rips it up and lies back on pillows. Puwai looks to her, then the pillows, and morphs into the shape of one. Morgan smiles and holds onto him. Exterior. Kapiolani Park next morning. Morgan, with Puwai in her backpack, and Scott cruise side by side on their bikes through the park.
Did you hear on the news about the stolen science stuff?
Yeah, how did they manage to not leave a trace or anything?
There was nothing on CCTV either.
Weird.
You wanna come over after school? You sound lonely in that hostel.
Can't. I have soccer practice again.
I'll come watch.
Sure, you can see how good I am.
I came up with a name for the alien. Puwai.
What?
It means heart in Hawaiian. Kind of. I can't pronounce it.
They cycle in silence for a moment. Morgan looks to Scott, who appears to be lost in his thoughts.
I could ask my mom if you can stay at mine. It'd be nicer than the place you're at now.
Scott's eyes glimmer with a sheen of hope, but his face quickly turns to a frown.
I don't want to bother you.
Really? I'll ask her. I'm sure it'll be okay.
A sincere smile from Scott.
Thanks, Morgan.
Another moment of silence. This time it's Scott who notices Morgan aloof.
So, what's bugging you?
Do I look boyish?
What answer do you want to hear?
I don't really care, but I found a note in my bag making fun of me for it. I'm sure it was Leon.
Scott grips his handlebars tight.
I hate that jerk.
Don't worry about it. Just don't punch him again.
I'll try. So does Puwai need to eat?
I don't think so. He doesn't have a mouth. I tried giving him some chocolate, but he didn't react.
So weird. He can change shape. He doesn't eat. I wonder what else he does.
Exterior, Kapiolani Park, clearing, same time. The same place that Puwai came from. Electricity dances around and the small purple portal opens up. A shadow darts from it before it closes again.
I just want to know where he came from.
Exterior, school, soccer pitch, afternoon. It's time for the game. Morgan and some other students sit on some small bleachers. Morgan is doing homework but peering over occasionally to see what's happened. On the field, the soccer team, which includes Scott and Leon, is split into two for practice.
All right, we've got an odd number on Team A. Scott, you'll be the substitute.
I'm not playing?
Not unless someone gets injured.
Leon makes a point of scornfully tittering at Scott as he retreats to the bleachers with Morgan.
Tough luck.
We were fine yesterday because Leon wasn't here. He's ruined everything.
On field, the game begins. Scott watches resentfully. On bleachers, Morgan's backpack is beside her. Puwai sleeps out of it, unseen, and crawls onto the field in a worm motion, trying to be stealthy. Leon's an aggressive soccer player, a total ball hog. He tries to show off, booting the ball hard. It flies over a wall, much to the contempt of his fellow players. Puwai sees a basket full of soccer balls and makes himself spherical, seeing the opportunity and resting beside it. The coach goes over to the basket and picks up Puwai.
Penalty to Team B.
Puwai is rolled to the field, but he's actually using little steps to move himself convincingly. A player from the other team passes Puwai to a teammate, who's then intercepted by Leon, who takes the ball from her. In a motion too quick for anyone to notice, Puwai wraps around Leon's leg and trips him. Taking advantage of the commotion around Leon as he makes a scene over his grazed knee, Puwai makes an escape back to the bleachers. Scott's smile indicates that he's very pleased with what's just happened. Morgan notices Puwai slipping into her backpack again. Fluid like a snake, she pokes Scott for his attention.
That was Puwai.
Scott beams to Puwai.
You tripped, Leon? Puwai, you're awesome.
He holds out his hand. Puwai morphs into a hand and they high five.
Scott, you're on. Leon, take a break.
Yeah!
Scott leaps down to the field and joins the game. Puwai moves from the back again in plain sight of Morgan in a sharp whisper.
Puwai, come back.
On field, Puwai turns into a ball again and slinks into the game, oblivious, and players start to play. Scott is lost rushing with his team, not sure where to put himself but still happy to be playing. His teammates pay him no mind. They're leaving him out. Puwai makes an effort to get over to Scott. He notices Puwai, recognizing the face, and starts to dribble the ball, managing to have it dodge the other team's attempts to tackle him. But he isn't actually touching Puwai. The creature's making him look like a pro. Shoots himself into the goal. Montage. Scott scores several more goals. The team cheers. Scott runs around the field having the time of his life. The coach blows the whistle. The game is over. In montage. Exterior, Keawe Park, bandstand, afternoon. Morgan and Scott sit on the steps of the bandstand as Scott celebrates his victory.
They totally regret putting me on the back line now. I'm their star player.
Puwai is their star player.
Still, you gotta bring Puwai to all my games. This is so awesome.
I don't think that's fair on the other players.
When will I ever get another chance to look that good?
Well, that was really cool of Puwai.
She pets Puwai in the backpack between Morgan and Scott, stands and picks it up.
I'm going to the aquarium. We'll ask my mom about you staying over.
I really don't want to be a burden.
Sleep on it. Let's meet here at lunch tomorrow.
Sure. See ya.
See you, Scott.
Bye, Puwai.
Puwai nods at him, peeking through the backpack. Interior aquarium. Morgan is once again studying the hawkfish, contemplating them with extreme concentration. Puwai stretches around her shoulder to look at them. He presses his face against the window and a fish swims right up to him. They share a stare for a few moments before the fish swims away. Morgan looks at Puwai.
These fish aren't from here. They have to stay. I wonder if that's how you feel too.
Morgan looks to her other side and sees her mom approaching. She taps on the backpack and Puwai retreats into it. She zips it up.
The hawkfish again?
They look cool.
Kids your age are more into video games than nature.
I guess I'm not the same as them.
They both watch the fish for a moment.
Scott has to live at a hospice. I was wondering if he could stay with us for a bit instead.
You're really growing up, you know. Let's speak to his dad.
Thanks. He just doesn't seem happy there. I think he feels abandoned.
It's the least you could do for your best friend. He punched a bully for you, after all.
Morgan giggles. The hawkfish swim away in a hurry as a huge ocean sunfish approaches them. Exterior, Keawe Park, night. There are very few people in the park now. Street lights bask the pathways in a glorious white glow. Something darts between the lights, too fast for the naked eye. It stops for a moment, just out of sight, but a large shadow looms over the path, a shape of 3 segments. After a pause, it darts away again. Exterior, Keawe Park, bandstand, day. Morgan and Scott hang out at the bandstand again, Morgan wearing her backpack as Puwai stretches out over her shoulders.
He's a shape-shifting alien, Morgan. We gotta have some fun with him.
We still don't know what he really is, though. I'm still worried he could turn into a monster or something.
I doubt it.
Right. It's still just a bit freaky.
Puwai looks out behind them at the beach. His attention goes to something else, though. He sinks into Morgan's back quickly, afraid.
What's wrong?
She looks to where he was looking.
I don't see anything.
Faster than she can realize, Morgan's bag is torn from her back like it was shot. A shuttle lunges behind her, taking up the straps of her backpack. It falls to the ground. Puwai falls out. Something looms over him. The thing that catch the shuttle before, another creature. It floats in midair, jet black and very pointed like a polygon model. Two appendages, either side like shields, and in the middle, its body with tiny, menacing blue eyes. Morgan and Scott look at it, scared and confused, not knowing how to react. It dives down into Puwai and grabs him like a claw machine, then hovers away with great haste.
Puwai!
She immediately gives chase. Late to react, Scott follows. Puwai struggles in the grip of the creature, but he can't get free. Exterior, Kapiolani Park, clearing. It brings him to the clearing, the place they both came from. The creature continues to hold on to Puwai with talons as it lets go with the shield arms. It floats over to the center and digs its arms into the ground, then spins, carving a white circle. Morgan and Scott finally catch up and run up to the creature, trying to pry Puwai from its clutches to no avail. The circle starts to crackle with electricity. It glows purple. A portal is forming. Morgan and Scott are too busy trying to free Puwai to notice what's happening at their feet. Then they both slip as the ground disappears below them. Clinging onto the creature, they look down.
What's going on?
I don't know. Don't let go!
Puwai suddenly stretches to amazing lengths, anchoring itself to trees. The creature starts to slowly descend into the portal, struggling under Puwai's resistance. The tree snaps and Puwai is forced to suddenly let go. The kids scream as they fall into the portal, going to another world. Fade to white. Exterior. The Amalgam Forest. Day. Morgan and Scott lie on the ground, face down, unconscious. Around them is a forest, different to the clearing they were just in. Unusually, the forest is a mix of both woodland and tropical trees, all summery green, but the ground is completely covered in brown and yellow autumn leaves. The trees sway in the wind, making a harmonious white noise. Scott is nudged and fumbles into consciousness. He slowly sits up and looks around him, still half asleep. His eyes shoot open when he notices his surroundings.
What in the...
A voice speaks to him, soft and informed.
Thank goodness you're awake.
He looks beside him. It's Puwai, though a little different. His pinkish-white hue has turned to a pale blue.
Why?
No mouth, but a voice still comes out.
Are you hurt?
No, I'm fine. You can talk?
That's because we're...
Puwai is interrupted by Morgan groaning, stirring awake.
Morgan.
Scott runs to check on Morgan, and Puwai hops along too. Morgan is hidden from view behind Scott, who crouches to help, but the voice that comes from Morgan is masculine, that of a teenage boy.
Scott, where are we?
Your voice.
My voice? My voice!
Your body.
Morgan stands up fully in sight now. Morgan has changed, similar features, but more rugged, broader, masculine. Morgan is a boy. Morgan looks at his hands, thicker, less slender, runs them down his body, flat.
What's happened to me?
You, turned into a boy.
Why?
It must be your desire.
Morgan blushes, completely flustered.
What?
He looks down at Puwai, realizing what has just happened.
Wait, did Puwai just talk?
We're not in your world anymore.
Morgan takes a look around at the weird forest. The sky is clear with not a cloud. There's light everywhere, but no sign of the sun.
Oh yeah, you fell into that hole.
So, where are we?
We're in my world. This is where I come from.
Are we in another dimension?
This place has the power to bring your dreams to life. That's why you're a boy here, Morgan.
Morgan's face flushes red. He hides behind his hands.
You never told me you want to be a boy.
I don't. This place must have made a mistake. How do we get home?
We need to open another portal.
So let's do it.
I can't do that. But I know someone who can. The doctor.
Like that guy who travels through time?
Not through time. The doctor travels between worlds.
Morgan is still looking at himself.
Let's go then. The sooner we get out of here, the better.
Follow me. It could be a long walk.
Puwai starts to bounce away. Morgan and Scott look at one another, unsure of what to expect, and start walking.
Puwai, what was that thing that brought us here?
That was a kapuli. It's a monster.
Did it come from here?
Yes, this place is created by the desire from your world. When your people feel compassion, this place becomes beautiful and interesting. But when there's a big surge of negativity, something else gets created. Something with powers and bad intentions. That's been happening a lot lately. The Kapuli wanted to take me back here.
We're making monsters?
Humans are messed up.
Unbeknownst to them, they're being watched. A slightly faded humanoid figure is visible in the trees. Exterior, the amalgam forest. Later. Further in the expedition, the forest has become thinner and thinner. Less trees, fewer leaves on the path. The ground below fades into whiteness. Scott is just about dragging himself forward. Morgan is also flagging. They'd stop in their tracks ahead, just pure white. Nothing to be seen.
What's going on?
The landscape is unpredictable. We just have to keep going.
Puwai bounces forward and disappears into the white. Exterior, village. Behind Puwai, Morgan and Scott emerge from the white barrier to a cobblestone path. They're now in a small village on a thatched roof houses, but it's completely deserted.
Can we stop at one of those houses? My feet are killing me.
That's probably why we're in a village. You want to rest. This place gave you what you wanted.
I could also do with a drink of water.
After Scott says this, a bottle of water falls from the sky onto his head.
Ouch! What?
He bends down to pick it up.
It's water? Where'd it come from?
You're human. Your emotions control this place. It can give you whatever you want.
So why can't we just get a portal back now?
That's a little more complicated.
A door opens somewhere, spooking Morgan and Scott. A woman walks out of one of the houses, the one who was watching them earlier. She's just older than them, with dark skin. Her clothes give a vibe of freedom, loose, hanging in pretty colors. She takes no notice of them, and as she walks, she fades away. Scott's legs shake, frightened.
Was that a ghost?
Kind of. She appears in random places from time to time.
Who is she?
Don't worry about her. She's harmless.
Interior cottage. Morgan opens the door to a cottage. Nobody's in, but it's fully furnished, cozy and plush. A fire roars in the fireplace, and a grandfather clock ticks somewhere in the room.
Hello?
We're the only ones here.
Oh.
They go inside. Scott runs and jumps to a sofa and sighs in pure bliss.
So if we can get whatever we want here. Say I really want some chocolate.
A chocolate bar appears from thin air above him and lands in his lap.
This rules!
I could go for a bag of chips.
And they appear. Morgan catches them as they fall from the air. Morgan sits on a chair opposite Scott, and they both eat.
I guess you're not an alien then. What is this place?
The doctor can explain everything better than me. The doctor is amazingly smart and knows everything about this world.
They all relax in peace for a moment.
Why did you come to our world, Puwai?
I fell into a portal by accident. Then I wanted to study your world.
I don't know why. This place is way better. I get used to this. No school, no responsibilities.
Don't you miss your dad?
Well, yeah, but he put me in that hostel. Let him worry.
I miss my mom. What would she say if she saw me like this?
Interior cottage bedroom, night. Morgan and Scott sleep in opposite beds while Puwai looks out of the window at the night. There's a clatter of metal downstairs as things fall over. It wakes up Morgan, but Scott is fast asleep still. Morgan speaks in a whisper to Puwai.
What was that?
I think it was a Kapuli.
Another one of those monsters?
Just stay calm.
Puwai softly hops out of the room and Morgan follows to the corridor. Skittering of feet around them, Morgan shivers with goosebumps.
It's in here.
A soft breathing from above him. Morgan slowly looks up. A huge long black centipede of prismatic segments hangs from the ceiling. It stares directly at Morgan.
Morgan!
It drops from the ceiling and Puwai tackles it midair. They fumble around on the ground. Puni morphs and twists himself around the centipede.
I have it held down. Finish it!
Like, kill it?
It's fine. It's just a bad thought. It doesn't feel pain.
Morgan looks up.
I need a sword.
A sword drops down in front of him and clings to the ground. Morgan picks it up, runs over to Puwai and the monster and stabs down to the black mass, cutting it in half. It stops its squirming immediately. Puwai shrinks away as it twitches. It starts to flake away. A whisper emanates from it. The monster disappears completely as Morgan catches his breath.
Why did it say power?
When a human wants something so much that they do something unforgivable for it, this world makes it kapuli.
We need to get home.
Exterior village morning. Morgan and Scott leave the cottage, newly acquired bags on their back and clean clothes.
I missed an epic fight. Man, I sleep through everything.
It was scary. Thankfully, Puwai defended me.
The ghost from before walks in front of them.
It's the ghost again.
She's so creepy.
Morgan waves to her.
Hey.
She turns around, sees Morgan, and gasps silently in surprise before disappearing again in a quick fade. Puwai follows them out of the cottage and with a shape-shifted hand closes the door behind them. He goes on ahead of Morgan and Scott, and to their right is another white barrier. Exterior, sea. Through the other side of the celestial barrier is a short boardwalk encompassed by a vast ocean. Water as far as the eye can see.
So, do we have to swim?
Morgan looks down at Puwai.
Couldn't you turn into a boat?
Too big. You guys could try and get one.
Gee, Magic World, I sure would like a boat to travel this big ocean.
Beat.
We could really use a boat.
Beat.
Why isn't it working?
I guess it's a big request.
Come on, Scott. Like you mean it. You want to get home, right?
Scott thinks for a moment. Does he?
Give us a boat to get to Puwai's doctor.
From under the water, a generously sized yacht rises just beside the boardwalk, dripping with water as it gets to the surface.
Perfect.
He jumps onto the yacht, followed by Puwai.
Come on, Scott.
After a brief pause, Scott joins them. Exterior, yacht at sea. The yacht glides across the water effortlessly, the wind bashing against its sails and the ripping water beneath creating an atmospheric spray. Scott has appropriately had a sailor hat up here. He stands at the front of the boat looking outward.
Just how far is this doctor, Puwai?
The way the land connects here is unpredictable. The sea usually appears when people feel lost. It's appeared a lot lately.
Lost? So we could be traveling forever.
It depends on how lost you are.
Scott comes to the deck with Morgan, who is sat on an out-of-place sofa.
A long journey doesn't sound so bad. We basically have superpowers here.
Do you want to stay here?
Why not?
We have friends and family at home, whole lives. They're probably worried sick about us.
The only person to be worried about me is my dad. Maybe.
He's only looking out for you, you know.
He's not doing a very good job.
I'm sure he's doing the best he can.
Maybe you're right. He's in no condition to look after me.
Maybe it's a good thing for you. Maybe you could start being independent.
No way. I cannot look after myself. So, how about you? You come here and now you look like this. Do you know what's up with that?
I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
This world is made by desire. It can make you how you want to see yourself.
That can't be right.
You were worried about being boyish back home. Is it weird for you actually being a guy?
I don't feel bad. It's confusing. I can't describe it.
This is also awkward and weird.
The exterior, yacht at sea, later. Scott sits at the front of the boat looking out, clearly very bored. He notices something in the distance.
Land ho!
Morgan runs to see a small patch of land and beyond another white gate.
Finally.
Seasick?
A little.
The yacht shakes. There's a thump on the bottom of it. The sky turns a spooky gray.
That won't help.
Puwai, what's happening?
It's a storm, but storms don't happen unless...
A large black tentacle suddenly flops onto the side of the yacht, shocking everyone. Then another. The tentacle pulls the boat to an angle. Puwai acts fast, tying itself to the mast and holding on tight to Morgan and Scott's torsos. Into view as the ship tilts comes a large black squid with 8 terrifying and wiggly arms. A single Cyclops eye opens and the pupil shrinks, deep green and angry. Scott and Morgan panic.
Ah, is that another thing?
Yeah, we have to get rid of it.
Oh, follow the water if we dive at it.
The squid slams one tentacle onto the deck of the boat, its suction cup sticking firmly to it.
We need a plan.
Morgan looks at Puwai, then down at the squid. He holds out a hand.
I need a spear. Please don't drop it.
A spear appears in his hand, which he quickly clasps before it can fall.
Hawaii, we're gonna bungee down.
Morgan looks at Scott, and he nods and holds out a hand.
Battle axe!
A huge axe, nearly the size of Scott, appears. He grabs it, but it's too heavy. He drops it. It falls, and on its way down, slices off one of the giant tentacles of the squid. It lets out a ghastly wail as the severed tentacle dissipates into nothingness. It flails its other tentacle about and knocks into Morgan. Puwai suddenly loses his grip on him, and he falls, screaming, and lands on the squid's tentacle. The squid wraps around him
Scott, help!
and dunks into the ocean, letting go of the boat, disappearing under the surface with Morgan. The boat rocks back to being upright. Puwai lets go of Scott, and he runs to the edge of the boat.
Morgan!
He looks on deck and sees the spear that Morgan had spawned before. He runs and grabs it.
Puwai, hold on to me. I'm gonna get Morgan.
Puwai nods and stretches out to wrap around Scott's leg, still holding on to the mast too. Lacking grace, Scott leaps into the ocean and starts to swim down, holding his breath. Curiously, as he moves his arms, no bubbles come from them. He can see the squid diving below him and keeps going deeper. Scott's face goes red. He tries his best to keep holding his breath, but can't do it anymore. He tugs on Puwai and starts getting pulled up. He keeps trying to hold his breath as he rises, but it's no use. He lets out a big gasp and nothing unusual. He lets out a few more pants and realizes he can breathe. He surfaces as Puwai keeps pulling him up.
No, I can breathe down there. Let go. I'll get Morgan.
Puwai nods and let's go. Scott falls into the water and dives again. Realizing the potential, Scott turns around to stop, swimming as if standing, and slowly he descends as if he were falling. The ocean gets darker as he gets closer to the resting squid at the seafloor, holding Morgan tight.
Scott!
Scott holds the spear downward and he falls quicker. He impales the squid at the top of its head, skewering it. It flails and lets go of Morgan, who swims backwards. Morgan nods at Scott.
Together. Spear.
A spear appears next to him and he grabs it.
1,
2.
3.
They both lunge towards the squid, spiking their spears into its body. It bursts into black flakes with a loud cry.
Companionship!
Scott and Morgan rise up to the surface where Puwai helps them out of the water.
That was awesome!
And crazy. We really can do anything here.
You're learning quick. You're just like the doctor.
The yacht arrives at the gate. The guys help each other up onto the boardwalk and walk through. Exterior, Castle Hill, evening. On the other side, they emerge at the bottom of a spiraling hill up to a huge snowy mountain. Partway up it, a castle.
We're here. This is where the doctor lives.
Just a little longer and we're home.
They start their trek.
You haven't told us anything about the doctor. Who are they? Are they human?
Just be patient. The doctor is smart, kind, and dedicated. The doctor will get you home.
They better be worth the wait.
Exterior, Castle Hill, uphill, dusk. Morgan, Scott, and Puwai continue to ascend the twisting mountain. They're just edging the halfway point, but it's starting to get dark.
How much further?
We're nearly halfway.
It's been hours.
Let's walk a little more, then rest for the night. I'm pooped.
Right.
Exterior, Castle Hill, cavity, night. They arrive at a small indentation of the cliff edge, perfect for shelter. Series of shot. A. Morgan calls for something. A tent appears already put up right in front of him. B. Scott drags some half logs around a pile of firewood. He bends down to light it. C. Puwai hops out from the crevasse and looks up to the castle further up the mountain. D. Scott and Morgan sit at the fire, laughing and roasting marshmallows. E. The fires die down as the time has passed. Morgan and Scott sit quietly looking at the view of the small woodland, and behind it, the white veil that led them here.
It's been a couple of days. I wonder what our parents are doing.
It'll just be a little longer.
Morgan looks outside, sees Puwai still sitting away from them. He talks hushed.
Do you think Puwai seems different here than when we were home?
What do you mean?
Something just feels off.
You're always like this around things that are new or different. Don't worry about it.
Scott gets up and stretches with a huge yawn.
I'm gonna get some sleep. Night, Morgan.
Good night.
Scott retreats to the tent. After making sure he stays there, Morgan approaches Puwai.
Will this doctor really be able to take us home?
Sure. The doctor's portal is how I got to your world in the first place.
I don't think Scott wants to go. He loves it here. He was in a rough place back in our world.
What exactly happened?
His dad got really sick. He had to go to the hospital. All of Scott's relatives live in other states, so he has to stay in a place for kids with no home. I think he feels like he's being punished.
So he feels free here.
Yeah. He just doesn't want to have to look after himself.
Maybe he has a point.
You think so?
What about you? Do you think that this world was right to make you a boy?
A light breeze tickles Morgan's face. He looks to the side and sees the ghost girl staring at her round the corner of the path. Puwai hasn't noticed.
I'm gonna go walk for a bit and clear my head.
Sure.
Out of sight of Puwai, the ghost lingers and doesn't run away as Morgan approaches.
Hello?
Hi.
The calm response sends a shiver down Morgan's spine.
Who are you?
My name is Kalea.
I'm Morgan. Are you alive?
Morgan, there's something you need to do.
Me?
You need to change her.
Wait, who? Change who?
She wasn't always like this.
Who are you talking about?
I believe you can do it.
Who are you? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Morgan, I've know your strife. Be this change you desire.
I don't want any change. I just want everything to stay as it is.
I don't think that's what you really want. Learn to cope with change, use it. When the time comes, I know it'll be you who changes her.
Changes who?
Kalea disappears without a trace. Morgan is left angry and confused. There's a pebble at his feet. He picks it up and throws it off the mountain.
Give me a straight answer!
He huffs for a moment and collects himself. Exterior, castle morning. The trio stands at huge metal doors that tower over them. Scott knocks on the door. The knocks reverberate into the castle and echo. Then the automatic doors slide apart.
That was easy.
Interior, castle. With Puwai leading, they walk down a huge corridor. The place is a curious hybrid of an old stone castle and a modern laboratory. The walls, floor, and ceiling are stone, but dotted around are screens, and everything is bright and well lit, giving a very sterile vibe. Footsteps echo from elsewhere. Morgan and Scott stop in anticipation. From a corridor around a corner comes an adult woman. Her skin is tan and she's dressed in a lab coat and thin-rimmed glasses. This is Dr. Keaka Mihi.
Is this the doctor, Puwai?
It is. Morgan, Scott, this is Dr. Mihi.
It's nice to meet you, but how did you two get here?
One of the monsters dragged them here with me. I told you you could send them home.
Of course. Come with me. We'll have something to eat and you can tell me about what happened. I'm sure you have questions as well.
All right, and that is our intermission. We're going to take a 5-minute break. You guys are doing awesome, really cool voice work and reading, you guys. So take 5. We'll be right back. Okay, guys, we are back. Welcome back to Twitch Film Table Reads. Today we are reading Puwai by Luke Thompson, and I'm just going to rejoin our table readers. 1 second. Okay, hey everybody, we are back from intermission. I hope you all had a good potty. I tried to get my new puppy to go potty, but he wouldn't do it, so I apologize for the long break. I know that as I'm speaking now, he's going to go pee on his bed, but what can you do? You guys ready to go?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
Excellent. Knave, are you ready?
Yep.
All right. I just want to say you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for doing this. And again, thanks to Luke for submitting your script. It's really neat and something I wouldn't normally get to hear. So thank you. And go ahead, Knave.
Interior, castle, dining room, afternoon. At a long but lonely banquet table, Morgan, Scott, and Mihi eat lunch.
So it didn't take you that long to get here. You should be glad you didn't have to go through the desert.
What exactly are those big walls of light?
How can I describe this to you simply? They're like doors, but there are rooms outside of them that are spinning until you go through. You never know which area you'll go to next.
How did you get here, Doctor?
That's a very interesting story. I've been here for about 3 years.
Flashback. Interior, laboratory, day. Mihi is exceedingly younger. In a boxed-off room, she sits opposite a test subject wired to a computer.
Back in our world, I was researching neuroscience. I wanted to see the way our brains behave under different emotions. I had created a program that would read the effects of certain moods and subjects on somebody's brain.
Dr. Mihi shows the subject a slideshow of random colors and shapes.
I had a theory that under the right conditions, I could influence the brain to reproduce the same patterns when introduced to very basic stimuli.
The test subject does not react to them. Fade 2. Interior, laboratory, weeks later. The same setup as before, but the test subject looks somewhat exhausted.
Meaning I could make them experience specific emotions with just an image or color. After some time and different methods, I had done it.
Dr. Mihi goes through the slides again. Then on a whim, the patient smiles, then frowns, shivers in fear, scowls in anger, and then starts to cry. Interior, lecture, theater, day. Mihi stands before a league of scientists. Behind her, a screen says cognitive manipulation. Keaka Mihi. With her are 3 test subjects all looking quite out of their minds at a television.
I presented my findings and theories to esteemed minds at an institute overseas.
As she speaks to her audience, Mihi goes through slides which appear on the screen behind her and on the television for her subjects. Some of the scientists watching her stand up and shout angrily. Mihi is shocked and embarrassed as they start filing out of the room.
They quickly decided that my research was not what they were looking for, and they all left.
Interior, Mihi's boss office. Day. Mihi sits at a chair, stern-faced and defensive as her boss scolds her with a police officer by him.
Since my research was rejected, I was dropped by my institute in Honolulu and couldn't resume my studies. I lived at the university, so I had no job and no home.
Exterior, Kapiolani Park, afternoon. In the clearing where the portal to the other world was appeared before, there's a house. A small cottage beyond a metal gate and stone wall, identical to the houses in the village the other world. Mihi stands by the front door holding boxes, takes a deep breath and knocks.
Thankfully, my sister took me in.
The door opens, Mihi smiles and walks in. Interior, Keaka's sister's house, guest room, night. Mihi sits at a table in a room with the lights off, poring over several notebooks of her own research labeled Cognitive Manipulation, Keaka Mihi.
No matter what, I couldn't forget the breakthroughs I'd found in my studies.
Interior, Keaka's sister's house, basement, night. The image is fuzzy. Mihi is in the basement and has 2 chairs set up with wires and nodes. In front of the 2 chairs are televisions. She rushes about the test scene, making sure everything is perfect.
The next step of my scientific theory was untested, but I just had to know if it was possible. The brainwaves I had collected, the areas of the cranium that respond to emotion, if a specific pattern was achieved, I theorized that under the right conditions, a person could materialize matter using sheer brain power.
A flash of black. Something is missing here, left out. The flash goes He sat in a chair with wires coming from her head. She's tense, holds a remote, and is speaking, but is unheard.
Since I had no more assistance, I had no choice but to do the experiment on myself, knowing full well how dangerous it was.
The screens blare into light and action. The electricity crackles around the basement, through the wires, bouncing off everything in sight. In a glass case in front of me, he is a gray light pulsing like a lava lamp. Volatile, it's shining. It slowly takes a shape. Puwai's shape.
It was working! But something went wrong.
The room starts shaking. Mihi is terrified and worried, almost crying. Flashes of electricity light up the basement for blinks of an eye.
One of the computers must have malfunctioned, or maybe I wasn't concentrating hard enough. Whatever it was, it caused a chain reaction and...
Exterior, Keaka's sister's house, same time. A huge explosion, followed by a flash of light. When the flash fades, the house is gone. All that's left is a huge portal the size of the clearing. The pull from the vortex snaps the heads of trees and sucks them in before the portal closes, leaving the clearing in the state it is now.
I had created a wormhole, and I was sent here.
Exterior, Spiral Mountain, day. Lying in a very familiar spot stands a giant castle. Mihi awakens and slowly sits up. The world has changed her. She's older. Sat in front of her is Puwai, unconscious.
And then I discovered him. You call him Puwai.
Does he have a real name?
Mihi scoops Puwai up and holds him like a baby, in awe.
I never thought about it. I just had to study him. He was what I had set out to create with my mind, but I got so much more.
She turns around, and behind her is her sister's house, perfectly intact, as if it had just moved.
My sister's house was here too.
Interior, Keaka's sister's house. Mihi comes through the door. The lights are off. The house is abandoned.
But she wasn't there. I had lost her in the accident.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. I've gotten over it.
Mihi looks in the mirror and leaps in shock at her new appearance.
I quickly discovered that as I had come into this world, I'd aged. I had to write about it, and as I thought about it...
A pen and paper fall from above Mihi and drops onto her head. She bends down and examines them, pure awe of a new discovery painted on her face.
Pen and paper literally appeared.
End flashback. Interior, castle, dining hall, same as before. Morgan, Scott, and Mihi are all totally invested in the story. Puwai has now joined them, sat on the table.
I quickly came to grips with how the world worked, making objects appear, the monsters, and Puwai land. By far, what I found most interesting was why my appearance had changed.
Desire.
Right. You picked it up fast, too.
Morgan slumps, suddenly gloomy and confused.
Back in our world, Morgan's a girl. You're really confused about it, right?
Yeah. I don't know why this place thinks I want to be a boy.
Well, do you?
I suppose I never felt girly, but this seems too far.
Seems to me like you're having an identity crisis. How old are you?
I'm 13.
You're just discovering yourself. Give it time, see how you feel. You'll either find something new about yourself or get over it.
But I'm confused right now. I don't like it. I feel like this Psyland is making fun of me.
Oh, the Psyland isn't conscious. If anything's making fun of you, it's yourself.
Hey, nothing about me changed. What's up with that? Am I, perfect or something?
Are you unsure of yourself about anything, Scott? No self-doubts or anything you want to change?
Scott thinks hard, but only for a moment.
Nah, I like myself the way I am.
Mihi and Morgan laugh.
If only everyone back home were that happy with themselves.
Dr. Mihi, I just want to know one thing.
Please, call me Keaka.
You're a doctor. I'd wear that title with pride.
You're right. Dr. Mihi works fine. What was it, Morgan?
Can you tell us what exactly the Psyland is?
The Psyland is the connected conscious of humanity. It's another realm where in a physical form, strong human emotions, positive or negative, it has an impact here. From within, we can control the power it has. It's a manifestation of the mind.
Deep. I didn't get a word of that.
Can we go home now? Our parents are probably worried out of their minds.
Oh, don't worry about time. A day here is about a minute in our world. Really, I've been gone for just over a day.
Ah, Puwai could have told us that.
Must have slipped my mind.
Scott and Morgan stand from their seats.
In that case, there's no rush.
Thanks, Doctor. This place is amazing.
No problem. Make yourselves comfortable while you're here.
Where can I find the bathroom?
Puwai will show you.
Sure.
Thanks.
The two walk off together. Scott waits until they're out of earshot.
Man, that's going to be awkward for Morgan.
Interior castle bathroom. Morgan washes his hands. He stares at himself in the mirror, trying to get a read on who he really is.
Morgan, I have to go help Doctor with something.
Okay.
Back to studying his reflection. Maybe he could have gotten to a breakthrough before Puwai distracted him. Then he flinches. Kalea suddenly appears behind him.
This is supposed to be private, you know.
I'm sorry. It's just, you're close now. You can change her.
Do you think maybe you could tell me what you're talking about?
Yes, I'll tell you everything. There are some things that you really need to know.
Interior castle hallway. Scott wanders down the hallway, only blank walls stretch down the hall until he comes across a lone door. Curiously, he approaches the automatic door and it opens. There's a flash of blue light as he does. He shields his eyes. When he looks again, he sees a bedroom, messy but personal. Music and film posters on the walls, video games and clothes strewn about the floor.
My bedroom?
He creeps in, not knowing whether he should enter. He steps in completely and the door closes behind him. He approaches the bed and hesitates. He sits down slowly, finding out it's really his bed. He smiles, but then, footsteps. He jumps. The door opens. Scott's grip on the bed tightens. He tenses up, not knowing what to expect.
Scott?
The voice sparks a flash of realization and glee in Scott's eyes.
Dad?
Interior, castle hallway. In another hallway, Morgan follows the ghostly Kalea.
Can you just tell me without being so mysterious what you're asking me to do?
I will, I promise. But first, I need to show you someplace. You need to know the whole story.
At the end of the corridor is an out-of-place looking door. It's made of wood and the wall behind it is sandy brick as opposed to gray stone. Interior, castle, basement. On the other side of the door, Morgan closes it behind him as he descends a flight of wooden stairs. At the bottom, a small, dimly lit basement with bookshelves. At the end of the room is an automatic door. Kalea waits for him at the bottom of the stairs.
This room is so different from the rest of the castle.
That's right. This room is from somewhere else entirely.
Interior, Scott's room. Scott sits on the bed, his father beside him. They hug as Scott cries into his dad's chest.
I thought you were sick. I thought you abandoned me.
You must have had a nightmare. I'm perfectly fine.
But it's been about a week. Everything's felt real.
Well, you know, sport, sometimes bad dreams feel like they take forever to end. You're here. With me.
You sent me to a homeless shelter.
I would never put you through something like that, Scott.
But you must have. Why are you here? Why am I here?
This is what you want, isn't it? I'm healthy. You're with me. You don't have to take responsibility for yourself.
This is what I want.
Scott's eyes lose their color and character. He looks lost in thought like he's under a spell.
If I stay on the Skyland, I can have whatever I want.
That's right, Scott. There's no need to leave this place.
Interior, castle, basement, same time. Morgan motions her arm toward one of the bookshelves and a notebook labeled Cognitive Manipulation. Keaka, Mihi, flies into Morgan's hands down on a specific page.
You need to know what she was doing.
Dr. Mihi? She told us. She said she was trying to provoke certain emotions.
There's more to it. You need to read that notebook.
Morgan starts to read.
Experimentation notes. Week 4.
Flashback, interior laboratory, night. Morgan's voice merged with Dr. Mihi's and is quickly phased out. Mihi is in the lab, completely lit green with her first test subject who is sobbing profusely into tissues.
It seemed for the past 2 weeks that my theory was a bust. The subject has failed to react in any way like my cerebral research indicated. However, after viewing the subject's personal records, I attempted a new approach. He lost his wife shortly after their marriage. Last week, I started to use it. It was a success. With the color green, I could make him weep like a baby.
As the test subject continues to cry, Mihi smiles and writes down in the notebook, writes success and circles it.
Wait, that's awful. Did she really do this?
Keep reading. A few pages ahead.
Interior, lecture theater, day. The same presentation as before, Mihi with her test subjects presenting to the group of scientists just finishing up.
Today was the day I presented my research to esteemed neuroscientist and psychologist. It did not go well.
She clicks to the next slide. One patient tears up, the other tenses an anger, the third starts breathing heavily in fear. The most basic display of emotions, as if Mihi has ripped the complexity from their heads. The audience are in absolute shock.
Using these methods, I'm in full control of my subjects' emotions, and possibly even their minds. This has fantastic applications, including something I theorize will change the way we use our heads forever.
One scientist stands up.
You're deranged. You've abused these people into submission and you've the gall to call it science?
The other scientists murmur in agreement. Another stands.
This is some of the most inhumane theories and practices I have ever witnessed.
Dr. Mihi is concerned. She genuinely doesn't see what she's done wrong.
If you just wait a moment, I can explain.
I don't want to hear another word of this.
He storms out of the room. One by one, the others all follow. Only Scientist 2 remains.
I have no choice but to alert you to the authorities. You are too dangerous to have around.
And after all they said...
Interior, Mihi's boss's office. Day. Mihi looking down in shame as her boss tells her off.
I was fired and placed until a trial, but with nowhere to go, I had to ask my sister for help.
In flashback, interior, castle, basement, same as before. Morgan flicks through the rest of the pages, all blank.
There's nothing else.
That's the story she hid from you.
Mihi did some horrible things. She traumatized those people. She changed them, and it sounds like she turned their brains to mush.
The story doesn't end there.
The floor ripples at Kalea's feet, and the room begins to shudder. It blurs and turns to bright flash. Flashback. Exterior. Keaka's sister's house. Night. As before, Keaka is hesitating to knock on the door. Behind her, spectating at Phantoms of Time are Kalea and Morgan. Keaka finally plucks up the courage to knock on the door. It opens, and at the other side is her sister, Kalea. Morgan gasps and looks at the ghost Kalea, then at the past Kalea.
You're Mihi's sister.
Ghost Kalea nods. Another white flash. Interior, Kalea's house. Basement, night. It's the same basement that's in the castle. Morgan and Ghost Kalea stand in the dead center. Between them are two chairs and screens. They set up Keaka's experiment. In the middle of the connected top, the screen is a glass case. Footsteps as the sisters come downstairs. Kalea's voice in the past is much more upbeat and free than as a ghost.
I'm more than happy to help you with your science stuff, sis. Science helps the world become free, you know.
That's what you think science is about?
They make it to the bottom, where Keaka starts setting up the experiment while Kalea watches.
What could be better than learning about how we work and using it to better ourselves?
I studied neuroscience to scrutinize the human brain simply to fill in gaps in what knowledge we have.
Gee, you make it sound so robotic and boring.
That's not even my endgame. I think I can unlock potential in our minds that we never even thought possible.
Like superpowers and stuff?
I don't expect you to understand, Kalea. I'm a scientist. You're an activist. We're very different people.
You're my sister. We're not different.
I'm glad you think so.
At the back of the room, Morgan and Ghost Kalea watch the sisters share a deafening silence.
Did you two not get along?
End flashback. Interior, Scott's room, same time. His dad's arm around him, Scott enthusiastically catches up with him unheard, observing the corner of the room, looking in the shadows as Dr. Mihi, cradling Puwai in her arms.
I tried, but Keaka has a one-track mind. Nothing will distract her when she's on something. If she gets an idea, she will go to the extreme and won't take no for an answer.
If you stay here, I'll look after you forever.
Scott's voice is robotic and dull, not of his usual peppy bass.
I think I will stay here.
Return to flashback. Interior, Kalea's house basement, same as before. Keaka is finished setting up the machine.
Take a seat, Kalea.
Kalea sits on the wooden desk chair and gets comfortable as Keaka starts sticking notes to her forehead.
So what exactly is this experiment for?
We're going to put our heads together, almost literally, and use our brainpower to create an object out of thin air.
That sounds impossible.
Don't doubt my genius. I've combined neuroscience and technology. I've made a program that supports my theory. There's a chance that this will work.
She didn't say it, but she had an ulterior motive.
What was it?
Keep watching.
Experiment area. Finishing Kalea, Keaka sits in the other seats and affixes the wires to her own head.
When the screens turn on, Kalea, I want you to think of something you desire, something you want more than anything else, something we can make together.
Should I tell you?
No, I have my own part to play in this experiment. Now, get ready.
Kalea closes her eyes and focuses. She smiles humbly, thinking of her inner desire.
I thought of everything that I stood for. Freedom, fairness, and a happy world for all. I didn't know that my sister meant a physical object. I thought she was going to help me make my message a reality.
Keaka takes a long look at her and presses a button on a remote. The computer between their chairs kicks into action. The screens turn on. Code runs up the screen as they start running Keaka's program.
Keep your mind on that thing you want. It's starting now.
Kalea leans back. Finished observing her, Keaka closes her eyes and concentrates as well. The only sound left is the humming of the computer as the two sisters focus their minds, and then a flash. The glass case between the screens is full of smoke, wildly dancing for an exit to no avail.
Keaka, why do I feel sad?
She's ignored by her sisters. The smoke in the case calms down, and a glow softly beats from within it. Kalea tenses and starts to cry.
I had so much hope, but now it feels like it's going. I'm losing faith.
The smoke starts to solidify and take a shape, glowing brilliantly. It looks vaguely like Puwai, resting but gray, back in the room.
What my sister did to her test subjects, she was doing to me with her own mind.
Is she taking away your emotions?
No, she's making me think like her.
Experiment area. Completely distressed, Kalea clenches her fist. She mumbles to herself.
What's wrong with this world? Why haven't I seen this before?
Good. Accept it. It's working.
I feel like I'm changing. My views, my ideals. Keaka, nobody recognizes me.
Keaka tries to concentrate on her own mind. Kalea suddenly stands. The nodes on her head snap off.
I just want to be known!
The screen suddenly displays many error messages. The computer's soft hum turns into an overheating frenzy of bangs and pops. Electricity crackles around the room and a mysterious wind blows everything. Dr. Mihi's eyes shoot open, seeing everything going to chaos around her. She stands up and her notes fall off too.
Kalea!
The gray Puwai in the case opens its eyes and the light becomes blinding. The glass case shatters and the light starts to slowly swallow the room. Puwai drops to the ground and his gray starts to wash to a light blue. Opposite, Kalea appears to be fading from reality. She looks at her fading hands, then at her sister in total confusion. Keaka looks back as Kalea completely disappears and Puwai attains his form. The room is flooded in white light. Exterior, Kalea's house, same time. Kalea's ghost and Morgan appear outside to watch what happens next. A light shines through every window and crack of the cottage, then the light turns purple. The house starts to warp and descend into the ground, leaving a growing purple portal in its wake which pulls off the heads of some trees. After the house has been completely swallowed, the portal disappears, leaving the clearing in its current state in a sudden hushed calm.
Dr. Mihi tried to brainwash you.
My sister was never good at tolerating different ideals. If I'd have known, I wouldn't have helped her. The whole making objects with our mind thing was a complete cover-up. I don't think she expected it to actually happen.
What happened to you?
In a way...
In a flash of white, exterior, mountain, silent. Dr. Mihi lies on the ground and slowly gets up beside her. It is Puwai, who was waiting. Morgan and Kalea look on as ghosts.
Keaka?
Mihi looks at Puwai, shocked.
You're That thing. From the experiment.
Keaka, don't you recognize me? It's...
Mihi stares in disbelief.
Kalea?
You've been right about everything. Forever. I never realized how wrong I was.
It worked! My experiment worked!
She stands and punches the air in triumph, then looks around at the unfamiliar setting.
Wait, what is this place?
Then looks down at Puwai again.
And what happened to you?
End flashback. Interior, castle, basement, same as before. The basement flashes back into reality. Morgan and Kalea are stood where they were before. Morgan needs a moment to take everything in.
You're Puwai?
That's what was created in the experiment. A version of me controlled by my sister combined with the creation my mind had made. It's me, but a different me. It's called Eno.
So how are you here?
The real me, is still here.
She motions her pale, ghostly arm toward the wooden doors at the other end of the basement. They swing open dramatically to reveal the experiment setup, with Puwai in the glass case, pink as it was in the human world.
Puwai? But how?
I was always with you, Morgan. But here, I can speak with you like this. I'm trapped. Save me.
Without even thinking, Morgan stretches out a hand and a hammer drops into it. He walks up to the last and whacks the hammer against it. It smashes into a burst of shards. Kalea's ghost fades away as Puwai wakes up.
We need to get home. Let's find Scott.
Puwai nods. Interior, Scott's room. Scott sits silently as if he's hypnotized while Mihi watches.
Well, I have things to do.
She exits the room, and as soon as she does, Scott's dad disintegrates into little black balls, collapsing to the ground, but Scott doesn't notice. He just sits there, blissfully unaware.
Dad, I knew you didn't hate me.
Scott sits entirely alone for a moment. The door creaks open again, and Morgan walks in with Puwai hopping beside him. He sees Scott and runs to hug him.
Scott!
Scott doesn't hug him back.
Morgan?
Scott, we need to get out of here.
Why would we leave? This place is amazing.
Dr. Mihi is crazy. She brainwashed her sister. It's a long story.
We should just stay here. We have everything we want.
Are you crazy?
My dad's here. He's healthy.
Morgan looks around for Scott's dad, who's nowhere to be seen.
Your dad isn't here.
He's right here beside me.
Morgan looks to Scott's side, but the bed is just empty. He has a flash of realization.
Scott, Mihi's got to you. Snap out of it.
We have everything we want right here.
No! Shut up! Mihi's done something to you. Come on!
We have no responsibilities. I don't have to look after myself. I can be with my dad forever. Nothing has to change.
But if nothing changes, everything will be the same forever. It'll be boring.
I thought you hated changes. The school? Your body?
That's different.
How?
Morgan pauses, caught in a trap.
I was wrong. There are some changes we need to accept. Some others?
He looks at his hands.
Others are more complicated and need time. But now I realize that change isn't always bad. But Mihi changed her sister. She changed you. She forced the both of you to change who you are completely. And that kind of change is awful. Come on. Let's go home.
Scott doesn't budge, but a smidge of grief escapes from the apathy of his voice.
I'm staying. This place is better for me.
No, it's not.
Go home without me. I need my dad. I'm not ready to take care of myself.
You're not by yourself. You have me. You can stay with me until your dad gets better.
I have the Psyland. I can be with my dad here.
It's not real. Come with me.
I don't need you!
Angry and fed up, Morgan grabs Scott's wrist.
Yes, you do!
She yanks him up, and the room around them shatters, leaving behind a room of white with many machines like computers lining the walls. Scott's eyes shoot wide open, and life returns to them. He falls to the floor, sobbing.
Thank you, Morgan.
Morgan crouches with them, and they share a friendly hug. Morgan looks around and notices the machines. He approaches one and looks at a sticker on the side.
This says, Property Honolulu. physics research.
Scott looks to his left and sees a desk littered with books, test tubes, and a couple of Bunsen burners, all stickered as well. He examines the stickers and paces through the books.
They say Honolulu Chemistry Lab. The books are from Honolulu University of Science Library.
So the stolen science stuff, that was her.
She does know a way out.
Let's find Mihi. We need to get home.
Scott nods, smiling. They fist bump. Interior, castle, dining hall. Morgan now has a backpack which he has Puwai in. He and Scott walk across the hall looking for Mihi, speaking in hushed voices.
So, which one is Mihi's sister? Puwai or,
I think they both are.
This is too much to think about. We have to act like we don't know anything.
Yeah, makes sense.
A soft thudding from around a corner. The blue blob hops into the dining room.
There you are. The doctor's ready to take you home.
Morgan and Scott force smiles, trying to act as innocent as possible.
Great!
I sure am homesick.
Stares at them. Morgan and Scott share a glance. Is he onto them?
Just follow me to the basement.
The basement?
Sure. That's where the machine is.
Morgan shoots Scott a nervous glance and hesitantly they follow Eno. Interior, castle, basement. Following Eno, Morgan and Scott descend the stairs of the basement, both frightened and nervous. Dr. Mihi stands with her back to them, looking at the open doors and smashed machine.
So, you already found this place.
Keaka, please.
Dr. Mihi turns her head, her eyes wide with shock at hearing her name come from Morgan.
How do you know my name?
I...
Where's the other one?
Neither Morgan or Scott respond. They're almost frozen with panic.
I know you took it, Morgan.
Morgan takes a brave step forward.
I did.
Keaka glares at her, shooting daggers from her eyes.
Why?
Morgan takes the bag from her back. Puwai pokes out of the top.
Because this is your sister. Your real sister.
My sister? I don't know what you mean.
Don't play dumb. We know what you did back in our world and what happened to your sister. She got turned into these creatures because of your experiments.
My sister was turned into the one that led you here. I have no idea how you know what happened to my sister or what that other creature is.
She's still here. She spoke to me. Puwai, Kalea, show her.
Morgan puts Puwai on the ground. Puwai's eyes shut, and he glows softly. In front of him appears the ghostly image of Kalea. Dr. Mihi breaks into tears.
Keaka.
Kalea? What is this?
This little guy is a vessel for me. I'm one with this world.
All this time, why didn't you show to me?
You're corrupted. As I watched you, I found out what you really wanted from that experiment. But that doesn't matter now. Please, send these kids home. We can stay here together and talk things through, but they need to go back.
Okay, you're right.
Mihi takes a remote from her pocket and presses a button. Exterior, desert, same time. The pointy monster that took Morgan and Scott into the Science scours the desert, digging into sand, searching for something. On its back is a small chip with a red light that turns green. It immediately flies up, opens up its arms, and spins into the ground, opening a portal which it dives through. Interior, castle, basement, and out of a newly appeared portal with everybody in the basement, it closes.
It's that thing!
A monster!
Don't worry, this one I've managed to tame. I put a chip in it. It listens to me.
Is that how Puwai came to our world?
Yes, my sister was using this to make portals back to our world. I thought maybe if I went through one, I'd return to my human self.
I didn't know what you were or if you were dangerous, so I sent it after you right away. When you came back and I found these two unconscious, I knew I had to bring them to me. So I had Eno pose as Puwai and bring them here. And now...
She presses another button. The monster opens its shield-like arms and they grow, become human-sized. It clamps Morgan and Scott in them, trapping them tight with no escape. They try to struggle but can barely move.
Keaka!
I've been waiting a long time for someone else to stumble upon this place. Now I don't have to wait any longer.
Let us go.
I think it's time for an experiment.
Kalea fades away and Puwai wakes up. He leaps at Mihi, but Eno tackles him in the air. The two tussle on the ground, shape-shifting while fighting into an incoherent scuffle.
Dr. Mihi, what are you doing?
Testing a theory I've been working on since I discovered this place. Usually this canoe uses the ground to get the energy to make a portal, but I figured that if it used a conscious body to open it, the portal will have a mind of its own. The powers the Psyland grants will leak through.
How is that possible?
You wouldn't understand unless you're as smart as me.
What are you going to do?
What I failed to do with my sister. I want everybody to think like me and make the world a better place.
Why? What's wrong with how the world is?
Our world is a horrible one, full of conflict and disagreement. I've always hated that. When I control everybody, there will be no war, no debate, no sides to take. Everyone will think like me and be in peace.
That's not peace, that's brainwashing.
You'll be taking away everybody's individuality.
Are you telling me that war and strife are good?
That's not what we said.
War is horrible, but everybody has disagreements. We learn from them. We get better.
I haven't seen our world get any better.
And what gives you the right to take away people's freedom?
I've had enough. I didn't set out to debate with children.
She presses the button on the remote. The black monster slowly starts to spin and get faster. Morgan and Scott scream. Static dances in the air above them and a portal opens. Morgan tries to concentrate, but everything is spinning around him too fast.
Puwai,
Puwai stops his squabble and leaps to Morgan, joining the spinning.
grab Mihi!
Puwai coils around Morgan's arm like a snake and he holds him out. While passing Mihi, Puwai grabs onto her arm. Reacting quickly, anchors himself to a door and grabs Mihi. The Kanu portal monster stops suddenly, unable to keep spinning under the force.
What are you doing?
Bringing you with us.
Morgan pulls and Puwai to reel Mihi in. Scott pulls Morgan back as well, giving them an advantage. They break out of his grip on the door. Mihi flies upwards through the portal back to our world. The remote falls out of the jacket, and as it hits the floor, a button is pushed. The Kanu lets go. Is being sucked into the portal as it closes. Grabs onto Morgan and pulls him back, tugging against Scott's grasp. Lashes out and whacks Scott on the face. Scotty loses his grip and watches as Morgan, and Puwai fly into the portal, and it closes, leaving him entirely alone in the Psyland as the Kanu flies away. His voice echoes in his solitary world.
Guys? Oh no.
Fade to black. Exit Waikiki Park, clearing, night. Blackness turns to vision as Morgan comes to. Back in our world, back to being a girl. Puwai's at Morgan's side, but Mihi is nowhere to be seen.
Are you okay, Puwai?
Puwai nods.
Bring out Kalea. We need to find your sister.
Puwai shakes his face.
No, you can't do it?
Another shake.
I know we need to find her, but it's late, and we have no idea where she is. Let's go home for now. Tomorrow we'll find her and get Scott back.
Puwai nods and hops into the backpack on Morgan's back. Interior, Morgan's house, kitchen. Morgan slowly opens the door to the cozy house on the cliffs, entering the kitchen where Gwen is on her laptop. To her, Morgan has just been gone since morning.
Ah, I was wondering when you'd get home.
Teary-eyed, Morgan runs up to Gwen and hugs her.
Mom!
Oh, hello to you, too.
Morgan, sheepishly, moves away from the hug, embarrassed.
It's just nice to see you.
Gwen is somewhat bewildered, but not wanting to squander the affection of her teenage child, she smiles.
How about some dinner?
Interior, castle, basement, day. Scott tracks in circles as he pulls his hair in panic.
Trapped. I'm trapped. I'm all alone.
He looks at the machine from the past experiment ahead of him. He steps to it, legs shaking, to check it out. Drags his hands down his face. It's just chairs and screens. It's pointless. He sits on one of the seats, tears silently streaming down his face, then looks up and sees the bookcases. He goes to them and examines. They're sparse of books, but a few notebooks are there. Scott fumbles through them, reading their covers, all scientific notes by Mihi. Then one catches his attention. Workings of the Psyland, Keaka Mihi. Curiously, he opens it and flips through. A lot of the pages are filled with neuroscience jargon. Narrowing his eyes and frowning, he skips several pages until he sees a heavily scribbled on page which he reads aloud.
Though this world can grant you anything you desire except one thing, you can't wish yourself out.
Out is highlighted, underlined, and circled many times while arrow is pointing to it. Scott slumps on a chair and leans back, stumped on what to do. He notices a physics textbook on the table in front of him. Honolulu University Science Library is printed on a big sticker on the bottom. Scott looks again at the attention-grabbing out, then at the book. He starts pacing in circles again and nearly trips on the remote that Mihi dropped before. He picks it up and examines it. His face lights up. He's had an idea. Exterior, Morgan's house, day. The day is in full swing as seagulls slide past in the sky, which reflects into the dazzling sea. The soft seaside wind blows wind chimes into a calming melody as the waves crash against the cliff edge, but the serene atmosphere is broken by the obnoxious buzzing of an alarm clock. Interior, Morgan's house. As shown by the digital clock on Morgan's bedside, it's 1 p.m. Its whining would be enough to wake anyone up. Morgan groggily rises and does a double take, almost in disbelief of being back home. Puwai is beside Morgan, who pokes him.
Puwai, wake up.
And he does. He sees Morgan and his eyes shine in delight.
We're going to find Mihi.
Puwai nods. Interior, Morgan's house, living room. Morgan comes into the room. Gwen watching the news on TV, totally immersed.
What's going on?
Shh.
On the TV, a news anchor stands amidst a crowd surrounding the bandstand in Kapiolani Park.
Hundreds are gathered here at Kapiolani Park to witness this momentous occasion as the mayor of Honolulu is going to present her with this prestigious award.
The mayor? What is this?
Just watch. She's incredible.
Who?
The crowd on TV go wild as someone, obstructed by the hordes of people rushing to get a better view, steps onto the bandstand.
What you're seeing now is the woman who the mayor will present with the award today, Dr. Keaka Mihi.
She's so wise. She deserves it.
Morgan is absolutely speechless, at a loss for words.
Dr. Mihi has published a series of scientific discoveries which have instantly been met with acclaim from notable scientists worldwide in a single night. Her fantastic efforts have made her worthy of a new award, the Mihi Science Award.
The camera focuses on and zooms into Mihi, who is much younger. She wears, like a cape on her shoulders. Morgan looks to Gwen, who is smiling with pride and wiping tears from her eyes.
A woman like her could make the world right.
Her plan.
It's about time she got herself recognized. She was kind of an underdog before yesterday, then everything changed.
Everything changed? Of course it did. Mom, you have to snap out of it.
What?
Dr. Mihi is awful. Her views are twisted. She can't stand different opinions. She knows no better than to brainwash everyone in the world. Please, Mom, snap out of it.
You must be tired after being on Cyland for so long.
The Cyland? How do you...
As if she were in a trance, Gwen blinks rapidly and looks at Morgan.
How do I what?
Never mind. I'm going out.
Be safe.
Morgan dashes out of the room, backpack with Puwai in tow. Exterior, Kapiolani Park, bandstand, day. Morgan cycles towards the bandstand, navigating with a crowd of people also going to see Mihi. The crowd passes the bandstand with Morgan in the middle. Mihi looks over and spots Morgan. They exchange scowls. Mihi looks to her audience.
Everybody, please be patient. I need to go and take a private call.
The crowd cheers as she walks off the bandstand, and they form a path for her as she walks through them. She walks past Morgan, giving a deliberate nudge, waving subtly to Morgan to follow her. Exterior, Kapiolani Park clearing. Mihi waits in the clearing as Morgan appears.
You're too late to try and stop me. I control everybody in the world, except you.
I just want you to bring Scott back.
It's pointless. Without the Kanu, there's no way in or out.
Suddenly, electricity dances around the scorched ground of the clearing. A portal opens up, which Mihi and Morgan fall into. Exterior, Silent Mountain. They ascend from the portal. Morgan, a boy, and Mihi, older, outside the doors of the castle. Scott holds the remote triumphantly, the Kano by his side.
You brat.
Oh, Morgan, why are you here?
Forget that. How did you get us back?
It's on Mihi's notes. I figured you can't wish your way out of here, but I could use the portal guy to bring Mihi back in and stop her plan.
It was going so perfectly as well.
Nobody was themselves anymore. You just want control. You took away everyone's freedom.
This isn't about control. This is about recognition. The recognition that I deserve. My science was thrown away even though it works. It needs to be acknowledged.
Your science was cruel. You can't force people to change like that.
Mihi stands up, her face washed with complete rage.
If you two aren't going to let me complete my plan, then I'll just have to get rid of you.
Her eyes are soulless, not her own. Ino on her shoulders climbs to her head.
The world needs to be changed.
Ino suddenly turns stark black and begins to grow, engulfing Dr. Mihi in itself. It grows to the size of a building, towering menacingly in the shape of a hunching bear.
Morgan, what do we do?
I think we have to fight.
They both hold out their hands and call out to the Skyland.
Swords!
Swords land perfectly in their hands, and they run yelling at Ino. They hack and slash at the monster's legs as black spores puff out with every strike, but they're barely making a dent.
It's not working.
Keep going!
Scott thrusts the sword into Ino's foot. It roars in a monstrous boom and swipes at him, knocking him flat on the ground.
Scott!
Morgan is kicked away by Ino and lands on the ground, unable to get up. Puwai watches, completely helpless. He leaps at Ino, but is knocked back by a powerful force as they collide. He falls to the floor.
Puwai! Don't try and fight!
Ino lifts a leg to trample on Puwai, but he can't. Something is stopping him, a mysterious force. Puwai closes his eyes and Kalea's spirit comes forth from him. She rushes over to Morgan as Puwai continues to resist Ino and pushes back.
Morgan, you can beat Ino. The Silent can do whatever you want. You just need to be sure of it.
But I'm not sure of who I am. How can I be sure I can beat Ino?
When I met you with Puwai, I felt something between us right away. We needed each other in ways we didn't even know. You were afraid of change, but you saw how Puwai could change shape and it sparked confidence in you. I saw how kind and loving you were to a lost soul, and I thought you could change my sister. We brought each other hope. Morgan, you should be happy with who you are.
Morgan stands.
I thought about it a lot. I was confused for the longest time, but I think you're right. I think who I am in the Skyland is the real me, and I'm ready to become that person.
Puwai bursts with a golden aura, able to push Ino further back.
Perfect! Morgan, that's amazing!
You need to help Scott.
Kalea runs over to Scott.
You okay, buddy?
I just want to go home.
You aren't afraid anymore?
Scott stands up. For the first time, his face is completely serious.
No. My dad is doing the best he can. I shouldn't resent him for it, especially not when he's sick. He needs me more than I need him. I'll do what it takes not to worry him.
Puwai starts to grow, even bigger than Ino. Standing like a golem glowing a radiant gold, a giant symbol of hope and change.
Are you two ready to finish this?
Scott and Morgan nod. Kalea disappears. Puwai stretches his hands out backwards and they step on, climbing onto his shoulders. Puwai grabs Ino, who roars in pain and starts pulling him apart. As he's stretched into two, Dr. Mihi becomes visible inside, connected by thin strands like wires to Ino. Puwai's shoulders extend down her with Morgan and Scott. They both grab Mihi either side.
Mihi, this has to stop. Come with us. Come home. You're smart. You can do so much good.
Mihi's voice is completely devoid of emotion. Apathetic, like Scott after being brainwashed.
The world is horrible. There's nothing I can do for it. I'm better off here.
It's exactly what happened to me.
I think Ino is the one making her like that, and he was with you.
Then let's get out of here.
They pull Mihi away and she detaches from Ino. They get moved back to Puwai, who settles them onto the ground. Puwai raises the fist, which morphs into a spike and impales Ino right down in his body.
Respect. Admiration. My world.
Like the other monsters before, Ino flakes away into nothingness. Puwai shrinks back down to his normal size, but still glows with a gold aura, which moves away from him into his own being and fades away as Keala comes into being from it, alive.
Keala!
How are you alive?
I have no idea.
A burst of sobbing from Mihi on the ground. She stands, marches up to her sister and hugs her.
Keaka!
I'm so sorry.
Kalea smiles and hugs her back.
I should think so.
I never realized what I'd done to you. I just wanted you back.
I hope you've abandoned your evil scheme.
Yeah, I can't get away with it.
Why don't we all go home?
She nods at the canoe, and it swipes an upright portal into the air. Supporting Keaka, Kalea walks them to it and tries to go through. Keaka slips through like it was water, but Kalea presses against it like glass.
What's happening?
Can't you go back?
Keaka stands away from her sister and looks at the portal, then her.
The Skyland was created when the accident happened and split Kalea. I suppose in a way it's her conscience. Without being a spirit on Puwai, she can't leave.
And now that I'm flesh and blood again, I can't do that. Looks like I'm stuck here.
If you're staying, then so am I.
That's all well and good, but we've got families to see.
Morgan crouches down to Puwai and pets him.
Puwai, thanks for everything. I wouldn't have learned all this about myself without you and Kalea.
Me too. All this silent stuff was awesome, but I want to go home already.
Dr. Mihi, I hope you've learned from this. Some changes happen naturally. We have to take them as they come. There are some you have to go after yourself, but forcing someone to change is the worst.
Mihi laughs, a genuine, non-threatening laugh.
I'm being lectured by a kid. Get out of here.
They share a smirk, not a friendly one, but one of rivalry.
Take care of yourselves.
Scott and Morgan nod and walk through the portal together. It disappears behind them. Kalea walks to the edge of the mountain, her sister joining her.
You know, Keaka, you had what you wanted all along. The Silent is one big world in your control. You were just too stubborn to realize it.
The sisters share another hug overlooking the Skyland. Exterior, interior, Morgan's house, kitchen, morning. Morgan exits his house. He doesn't have the body that he had on Skyland, but there's a huge air of acceptance about him as he steps outside. He's more confident in boy's clothes, and his hair isn't hidden under a hood. Scott runs out of the door behind him, bumping into him.
Sorry, thought we were late. Thanks for the breakfast, Gwen.
In kitchen, Gwen sits with a cup of coffee in her work uniform, smiling at the two.
No problem. Work hard, you two.
We will.
They get on their bikes and start riding away.
Well, now we're back to our regular, boring lives.
It doesn't feel like it. We've come such a long way.
Sure, we know about everything that happened, but the world has just suddenly forgotten about Mihi.
So the Silent corrected it all.
Like I said, everything's back to normal.
Not for us.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
From our perspective, a lot has changed.
Series of shots. A. Morgan and Scott approach Leon at the bleachers. He's hesitant to talk to them, but Scott speaks and holds out a hand. Embarrassed, Leon shakes it and budges over for him to sit down. Neither Scott or Leon look too happy about it until a grin escapes both of their mouths. B. The three walk up to a door. A paper stuck to it says room change A10. They look at one another, shrug, and laugh. C. Scott and Morgan eat lunch with a bunch of other guys. Scott's telling a story and imitates Puwai, tearing apart. Everyone is focused on them. They're the center of attention. D. Scott walks into his dad's room in the hospital. He sits on the bed and they exchange a few words before hugging. E. Morgan and Scott hang out in the Capelloni clearing. They're waiting for something. A small portal opens up and Puwai jumps out. Morgan and Scott are delighted. F. On the beach, Morgan, Scott, and Puwai watch the sun set down into the orange ocean. The end.
Yay!
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 That was really fast at the end there, Knave. Holy shit.
Yeah.
You turned into the Flash.
He said.
You turned into the Flash.
All of a sudden, he's like, okay, I gotta finish the script. That was awesome. Thank you so much, Luke Thompson, for submitting your script. I hope you enjoyed the read and that you find it helpful if you're approaching rewrites. Let's now go to each of our readers and see what their thoughts were. Starting with Tinten, who played Scott. What were your thoughts on the script?
Alright, so, it was a great read, everybody. Pop-Tart, I think we made a wonderful team, so congratulations. Luke, I love you, buddy, and your scripts are wonderful as always. I think you have a really strong core here, a good, a solid premise, and I think the parts that I was iffy on were mostly like the general plot exposition, and I think now take it with a grain of salt, because as they say, listen to the problems, not the solutions. This is just my thought, but I think a big help that would solve a lot of sort of pacing issues mostly is if you at the start basically shuffle some stuff around, because in the middle of the film it suddenly stops dead and there's 10-15 pages of flashback, and I think you can fix it just by moving the meeting with Mihi to the very front of their time in Psyland, then give them an external goal. So they show up in Psyland and Puwai/Eno immediately takes them to the doctor, and the doctor gives her version of the story that, she came to Psyland, gave it to, she gives them, the little short flashback and gives them an external goal you have to walk across the Psyland and get to a place. And they do, and that's the center of the movie. And as the center of the movie goes, you take the big flashback where it shows Mihi going evil and crazy in the middle, cut it up into chunks, and have, every time they pause for a break or, Morgan gets separated from them, Kalea shows up and gives the next part of the flashback and space it out over the course of the movie. And then right before they get to wherever the new place that they're going is, she gives the final piece, which is showing, oh snap, you were the sister. Big reveal, Mihi's super evil now. Chunk it up, keep the action moving with the exposition instead of a lot of fun action and then stop for a bunch of exposition and then fun action to close it out. And that would solve, I think it would set up the arcs better. I think it would move the general pacing better. I think it would make for a better fun in games if, I hate sticking to page rules like that, but the center of your movie right now is flashbacks, when I think it should really be the trip through Psyland, Morgan thinking about who am I, Scott thinking about who am I, that sort of their development together. And it would stop the audience from thinking, are we still looking at Mihi turning evil? Especially, and that part also especially fell flat because we just met Mihi. So if we put her at the start, maybe even have her come with them. Yeah, and Smish makes a good point, and it still worked. It was not bad in the slightest. I had a lot of fun with this script. I really enjoyed reading it, just in general. Oh, we should talk about the Elvis pick. Well, whatever. That's what I get for reading the chat while I'm talking. It still works as it is. I don't think you need to change a whole lot about the specifics, but to just tighten up some of the. There's some repetition in the dialogue and the exposition, especially, and some kind of stating the themes. But apart from that, I think you have a solid adventure movie here that just needs some tightening in the in some of the personal dialogue and a little rearranging to keep it moving forward. That's all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tintin. Those are great notes. I'm sure Luke super appreciates them. Moving on now to Brian. It was his first time reading today. Brian, you did a great job. Thank you so much for handling those supporting characters for us. Did you have any thoughts you wanted to share with Luke about the script?
I'm not a very critical person, but I think he had a really strong concept, and I would agree with some of the stuff that Tintin said. You do kind of need to have Morgan kind of deal with her kind of gender identity issues at the start, or maybe we should kind of see that she's already having those issues in a more obvious way. I think that there's definitely it kind of rushes toward the end, and there's not really a lot of kind of hinting that Dr. Mihi is mentally unstable. I feel like there could be a little bit more of that kind of arrogance, a little bit more of that undertones of mad scientist. But yeah, Luke did a fantastic job. I'm not a critical guy, so.
Sweet, that works. Thanks, Brian. And Juxtapos'd, what were your thoughts on the script?
Ooh, shiny. No, but I'm pretty much on board with Brian not being a critical person. I'm pretty much the big fangirl here in a sense. I do agree with both Brian and Tintin. I'm gonna get that name right. Watch. That a lot of the internal strifes that Morgan has and Scott have, that should be addressed as it goes along. Not too heavy, but just random out where it's oh, I can relate to that, or I understand that, and it doesn't direct from the main story. Mihi, she can be a little bit more selfish, just a little bit. Make her scheming. Right here, it's more it's like a face she had, but more scheming. Sorry. That's the ending. The ending though seemed a bit abrupt in a sense, but not so much so where it's well, wait, weren't we just? How did we get here? It was more oh, okay, so we go this scene, huh? And that's about it. I was very excited to work with Pop-Tart and Jonas again, who is Tinten, if I may. And Scriptchick, first time working with you. I bow humbly in your presence. And Brian, nice job! So yeah, I love the script, and I would love to see more from it if there's going to be like a second movie down the road. Hit, cough, cough, wink, wink, say them all right then. Oh, there we go. Look, moving on. Bye.
All right, good job, Jux. Thank you very much. And yes, we all bow in the presence of Scriptchick. It's wonderful when she graces us with her presence. And next, we're gonna go to Knave, our all-star narrator. Thank you so much, Knave. You do a great job. What were your thoughts on the script?
It was good stuffs. I've literally nothing to say. So carry on, folks.
All right, moving on now to Scriptchick. What were your thoughts?
Cool. This was really fun. Like I liked this kind of change up with this animation script and this kind of very, I don't know, Wizard of Oz genre. So thank you, Luke. I really liked the world building. There are some parts though that I would be careful with just how many rules you're throwing at us. Just to give you an example, I got a little bit caught up with there were two types of Puwai, and just who was good and who was not. So it might have been just like I was skimming through the read, but I did get a little caught up on like who was who at a certain point. And then I didn't understand how they could materialize swords, or I guess that was the desire, but I just be careful in this world you've set up to not have stuff come too easily to them. Like I loved that part where you said, it was too big, or they had to wish harder for that. Just so that's not super easy for them. I agreed with the points about the exposition and flashback. I think some of it is definitely necessary and aids to Mihi, what she's all about. But there was a lot in that middle chunk to where it's like, I'm really excited to explore the story. But then when we have to kind of go back with and learn stuff that doesn't exactly involve Morgan, I had a issue with it there. I love Scott and Morgan's relationship, but more than that, I love your choice to have her internal conflict be about this identity. I think that's great. That's really unique. Like I haven't seen that in any script I've read, and I love how you bring her to the end where she is dressed as a boy. She's come to accept what her inner desire was. That's awesome. I would have more questions about gender roles in the beginning. More confrontation there about how she's supposed to fit into this mold, just to make that payoff all the more great. Because in the opening pages, when we see Morgan, I wasn't too sure if she was the main character or Scott was, because she was very passive to versus what Scott was doing. And I just didn't feel like her being passive in the fight really related to the gender stuff, or you didn't tie it in as well to me. So that's a thing I would revisit, but that's great conflict there with her own internal struggles about who she is, as well as the mom kind of knowing. I really liked that in her character. Little stuff, page 11 and 12, just the whole when they meet Puwai, I think you have a little opportunity for a joke there because Scott says morph into something, like give us a detail. I think it could be funny with what Gwen would seem as benign. Also, when she says stay like a pet, this reminds me a lot of Big Hero 6. So I would play with it more. Someone said the fun and games, make it more cute. I wanted to see the thing try to eat the chocolate because they just said that in dialogue, and react more like a dog because she's treating it like a dog. So anyway, page 22, I wanted to see the black thing sooner because we are kind of treading water until that conflict arrives, but love it when it does. I really like that visual of the torn backpack like a shot. That was a great description. And I even had a note here that I had to cross out because you said Scott, I wondered if Scott saw himself differently. And so I really like how you brought that back, how he's like, no, I'm good. But I think you could potentially play with it more, if not with Scott, then with Morgan. Like, just to give you an example, I feel this is a little also similar to Howl's Moving Castle in that that main character there fluctuated a lot with how her appearance was. And I think you can have that going on more with Morgan's internal conflict. Does she at points struggle between seeing herself more traditional like gender roles there, because your world is ripe for it. So don't let it go to waste. And then I keep seeing this feed something about companionship. It's a fun line, but I was just like, what is it? What is it coming from? And so if that monster is, you mean like curse your companionship, or I just wanted to know what their opinions were, because I thought, power, when that line was said, is it because he was born of power or they have too much power? I just wanted a little bit more context for that. But it's great. Good job. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Scriptchick. And last but not least, our MVP today, NoblePoptart, who played male/female Morgan. You did amazing. Did you have any thoughts on the script?
Oh, golly. Well, first of all, Tintin, it was great working with you, dude. No. So my entire feelings on the script, the beginning, I agree with everyone else. The world building was fantastic. You were very sucked in. The setting is very good. It has been very popular, and it doesn't feel uncommon or uncomfortable, and you slip into it easily. However, I will also say, like, once we're in the world, things do come a bit easy, and I think that when you do establish the rule of, it has to be an actual desire or it's too big, it's a big ask, that's good. I just felt like it came a point where it's like, oh yeah, this is a fun adventure, but there wasn't much to be worried about. And oh gosh, I'm trying to think of how I can word this. I apologize. Okay, so when we see Kalea, Liana's the ghost girl, by the time we get to the doctor, I feel like we're already at that level of suspicion where we're not totally buying her story. So I would second Tintin that there should be, like, maybe the portal brings them to where the doctor is. And then she sends them out to do something. And then it comes back and, they encounter the ghost girl there. Because I feel like right now it's at a point where there's not really too much to worry about, and there's also that already suspicion. So if you watch like a TV series and there's like a 3-part plot story, by the time you get to that 3rd episode, it's so rushed and you so have already called everything that's going to happen. I would almost say that it didn't quite hit that point where I could see everything coming, like the last bit where they come back and, they're going through the worlds more fluidly. That's really good. But in that mid part where it's just a lot of flashbacks and stuff, it's kind of a drag. And again, that might be because I'm not seeing it visually, but I just feel like there could be a way to break it up. And then the only other note I had was kind of Scriptchick made me think. With Howl's moving castle and how she is constantly changing, what if while she's in this island, because there were points where I genuinely thought Morgan was convinced herself she wanted to be a girl, and it would be interesting to like maybe have her voice break or like see physical changes, not to the point where it would be so mimicky, but so that you saw the conflict more, because I just feel like there needs to be a way to introduce that conflict a bit more, because it is quite sudden. But otherwise, wonderful script. I really loved the concept. It felt like very unique to me, and I could imagine as a graphic artist all the little characters in my head. It was fantastic, and it's always great to read your scripts, Luke. Really good stuff. So thank you for submitting it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Pop-Tart. I mean, sorry, the Noble Pop-Tart. She doesn't like to be called just Pop-Tart. So, see, I pay attention. So that is it. Thank you so much, Luke, for submitting your script. Everybody out there, if you're watching and you'd like us to table read your script, please go to twitchtablereads.com. It's absolutely free. We do TV pilots, short films, and feature films. We'll be back next Friday, same time, same place. And that's it. Say goodbye, everybody.
Mwah! Good night,
Goodbye,
everybody.
everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.